Welcome to the podcast that has no name, which hopefully will have a name next week, so we'll see about that. With me is my co host, Mr. C,
Also known as C. Hi, M.
also known as C. And we have an interview with Mr. Dale Smith today, but that'll be coming up in a little bit. First, how are things in your world, Mr. C?
Shitty. To be uh, since I'm a host on this podcast, like let's say we are on equal terms, I can let's keep it. I can moan. So
You
let me
can
moan really
bemoan your situation.
fast. Yes, I'm an admin in another community, and I provide because I have 10 years of experience in sim racing, and I have the nerve or courage to provide some constructive criticism in a very polite manner. Not like you suck, you need to be better, like not like that. So I try to do the younger audience and they didn't like it, and then the whole other staffs from that community just beat my head off. So that was my week in sim racing. And in real life, I have an awesome trip because if nobody knows, I'm a truck driver. I'm going to the close to the border with Alaska and then to Ohio. It's a 6,800 kilometers trip. So yeah, that's about me in general. How about yourself?
Just got done with the ESR drop in races. Did actually pretty well in the first one, not so much in the second one. Bo Stamper owes me two new cars uh, because he took me out in both races. Um, we just did the Wednesday series not too long ago, did pretty well there. And as for real life, I got an extension with my job, so I'll be working there for a couple more months than I thought. And had a nice birthday with my family. We went to see a hockey game and got some really good chicken wings afterwards. So that's pretty much been my week.
Happy birthday. How old are you?
I am 32.
Holy shit, you're so young.
But I'm old in soul.
Right.
So let's get into it with Mr. Dale Smith.
Hello. So how's it
Dylan,
going, guys?
fine, thank you. How are you?
I'm doing well. I'm doing well. Uh,
Sim
not as
racing in
fast.
real life?
Sim racing is a big part of my life. So, but it's not my whole life. But because design is another big function of what I love to do. I like to make stuff.
Yeah, I had the pleasure to experience that in first hand, both in sim racing and in real life. Because if I'm allowed to say, you are a designer for Volvo North America, Volvo trucks.
Yes.
So I drive a Mac, which is sister with Volvo, and I get to complain to you about some mishaps in my Mac.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
So Mr. Dead, very awesome and crazy smart. Like not your average smart. It's like crazy smart.
I get in my own way.
And then in sim racing, I have one of his cockpits. It took a while to to get it because I'm pretentious, and he had to paint it for me, which thank you very much. And also when I got it, I'm not a mechanical person, so he had to video conference. So he built it with me. Like, look stupid, put that to that,
No, I
and
didn't say
anyhow
that
like that.
ever. Not once did I say that. The point is,
But you
you
No, but
help me work out issues that I need to work out in the development process.
yeah, that doesn't mean horrible at, because I remember at like 3/4 of the way, I put one of the panels in the wrong way, and that affected like the rest of the build. And then when you watched it again, watch it on video on Duo, not like high quality video. And he saw like,
Hmm.
you look, that part is like the wrong way around. I was like, oh, okay, never mind, I'm stupid. Anyway,
Yeah.
let's
Well,
talk more
that's the
normal
point.
stuff first.
Yeah.
Say,
Well, that's a prototype. it's a development model. It didn't come with instructions, so I had to tell you how to build it. So don't say you don't have the ability. It came to you, and how do I put it together? So we worked together.
Yeah, but if you're like more mechanical inclined, this design that you made is like very, like now looking at it, oh, it's like very smart, like very proper way. Anyway, we'll get to that. So, Mr. Dale, how long have you been sim racing?
Let's see. This is 2019. I've been sim racing since
70s?
let's see, probably 1988.
Sim
Wow.
race?
Yeah, back in let's see, what was it called, World Circuit, I think was the name, was the first
Okay.
racing game that I did.
All right.
So,
Let's skip ahead to like more proper sim racing, like the 2000s.
oh yeah. Well, I know, but and honestly, the first sim I actually drove was Grand Prix Legends by Papyrus,
Yeah.
and that was released in 1997. It sucked when it first came out because no one had a computer that could run it. And then finally, the computers caught up to it, and then people realized that it was awesome, but super crazy hard. Driving those old Formula One cars in that software was almost impossible. But once you got it, then it became really fun. So I don't know how many hours I put into that game. And then, as life would have it, I took about 10 years off, and I stepped back into sim racing now about 5 years ago. And I reconnected with the group that I used to race with. It was a OAO, so Online Automotive Organization or something like that. And they still race Grand Prix Legends today. Even it's a very old sim, people still have fun with it. But I hooked up with them and I did that for a little while, and then realized that game was a bit long in the tooth. And a friend of mine hooked me up with Project Cars, and then Project Cars 2, and then we found Race Room. And I've touched Assetto Corsa and a couple other sims as well. So there's
finally you arrived to the truth.
Yeah, so now I'm right. I bang for the buck. Race Room is pretty much the best one out there right now.
Well, I'm sure people will have
No,
arguments against that.
I mean, the thing is, we race not necessarily to win, but to actually race with people, get side by side with people, and battle with them. I've had more of that in the last year in Race Room that I've had in any other game. So that's how I evaluate what I consider the best sim out there, the one that gives me the most fun.
Right. Okay.
So
Makes sense.
It's a great way of looking at it.
yeah, if I'm trying to become a pro driver down the road, maybe not. But I'm an old guy. I'm 50-ish, mid 50s, and I'm not going to be a fresh new face in the Formula One stable. So I want to have fun, and then that's how I decide which one I want to use.
I'm sure there is place for you in the Formula One Classics at Goodwood.
Oh, see, that would be fun. That would be fun.
That would be fantastic.
Yeah, no one would trust me with one of those cars, but
I mean, people still trust Andre DeChedris with some cars, so I'm sure you could find a way in there.
Yeah, this is true.
If
I chose,
because if there's a way to break a car, Andre will find it.
yeah, this is true. But see, here's the thing. This is the other thing is I've done real car racing as well. I did some sports car racing. I did some. Yep. Yeah, I did a little bit. I actually ran in a Renault car series.
What?
And yeah. It was funny because a whole bunch of us put caster wheels on the roof because they almost roll over every time you come into a corner. It was funny. They weren't fast, but they were fun. But
Oh,
I could only afford one season. It broke my bank, and that was it. And for the amount of seat time you get, you're 97% preparation, 3% seat time. And whereas with sim racing, it's 97% seat time, 3% preparation.
Hmm. That is
So,
the general advantage of being on a virtual track in a virtual car. Is number
yeah,
one, when you smash it up, you're not absolutely screwed.
totally. I mean, it doesn't break the bank. It may break your ego. You may get a little hot under the collar, but it doesn't break the bank, and it doesn't. You push a button and it's fixed. I mean, that's the one huge advantage of sim racing over real racing. Yeah, it's not the same, but a lot of things aren't the same. Where do you get your enjoyment? And me is seat time, racing with friends.
I find both incredibly uh, amusing, but yeah, real life motorsports cost does generally cause a problem. And also, where I live, not really a lot in terms of actual high quality tracks. There is a reason that in most racing sims you will struggle to find a Canadian track.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, Mossport's awesome, but that's probably not on your end of the country.
No, actually, I've raced at Mossport. It's actually very close to me.
Hmm.
what?
It's about
Everybody?
yeah, I'm around Toronto, which is where Mossport is.
No, really, that's cool. I mean, the track has changed over the years, but it's still a great track.
I've raced there on both 2 wheels and on 4 wheels.
Oh, really? Nice. So
Nothing terribly exotic though.
Can I
no,
curse
but
you?
What was that? See?
Can I curse you?
I mean, you can. I don't think you need my permission to do that.
Yeah. Okay. And also, Mr. Dale, can I curse both?
sure.
Oh shit! Like, I
What?
was I was envious about you, Mr. Dale, like you do the engineering side and working at Volvo, and now having this sim rig that I race
Oh
in. And
yeah.
now you tell me that you raced in real life. Like, stop already! Like, enough.
Oh,
And then
well,
Mike goes, "Oh, I raced in real life also."
well.
Shit.
Here's the thing. There are people that talk about it, and there are people that do it.
Yeah.
If you really want to do it, do it.
There are
But you're
people
gonna
like me who do both.
you're gonna pay the price though. It's gonna cost you, and it cost me. So now I followed what my dad did. My dad was a draftsman at General Motors, and even though I did not want to do it as a young man, I'm not going to do what my dad did. I was a motorcycle mechanic. I worked with the Kawasaki race team. It was for motocross, and yeah, and I wasn't fast enough to be a team driver. Well, actually, I wasn't crazy enough to be a team driver. Is what it come down to. Those guys,
Motocross does
not.
definitely require a certain level of unhinged, separate
Yes, it
reality.
does. Yes, it does. And that's that's when I started to realize as I got older that I just can't afford to do serious racing. If I really want to put the time in and do it, I just can't afford it. So you had to find sponsors. Then I got interested in RC cars, and my grandfather and my father and I all raced as a team. So it was awesome to have a 3-generation racing team. And I developed an RC car that competed. It was a 1/10 scale oval track cars. And the first year I came out with a production chassis on that in that class, we won 48 of 52 races. nationally. So I was at one time, just a long time ago, I was ranked 7th in the country. So
what are you gonna tell us next? Oh, look, guys, I own a Bugatti and a
no, I
Ferrari.
see these are all toys, But the thing is, the only way I could afford to race was I had sponsors. I didn't make any money yet doing it, but I was sponsored by product, equipment sponsors, and they would give me the equipment to race. So motors and chassis and tires and radios and all kinds of other stuff.
Jeez, the best thing I've ever gotten from a sponsor was they gave me a free keyboard and mouse.
Okay.
The best thing I got from a sponsor was nothing, because I was never a sponsored guy. But I was in the other camp. I did sponsor some guys in sim racing and real life.
hmm So, I did that, and then my grandfather passed, and my father and I decided to step away from the RC world, and because that's another thing is if you don't stay up with it, you fall back. You always have to find something new. It's something that gives you a little bit of edge, at least psychologically. And that's the one big thing in racing. It's so psychological. You can go in, and if you know you're going to win, whether you're faster or not, you can win. So
I have a different mentality. It's like, I think this is saying is in NASCAR. If you don't cheat, you don't try hard enough.
yeah. Well, yeah. See, that's the one thing I always. That was one thing I don't know about pride myself, but I always stayed within the rules, but I found loopholes in the rules.
Yeah, bending the rules.
Yeah,
That's
it
good
just
enough.
yeah. I did what they considered endurance racing in the RC world. It was a
Okay.
6-hour race, and usually when you pulled the car in to do the work, you change drivers. Okay, and that would take time.
Right.
And we did it so that each of our drivers did double stints, and we saved enough time to put 3 laps on every any other car on the track. Yeah, we weren't
That
faster.
was fun.
We weren't faster. We just used our head.
Yeah, mathematics.
Yeah, that's all it was. And then people were complaining that we broke the rules, and we did not break any rules. We just used our head. So, and and then by the end of the race, we had teams trying to smash our equipment out, and I was like, really, guys, really, is it that important to you?
That is why I always brought with me my older brother for every race I ever did, because he's about 6 feet 8 inches tall and built like a shithouse. So it's like, do you really want to get into this? Do you really?
Yeah.
You also did the RC cars?
No, not the RC, but like just for anything, because
okay.
This goes in any racing, whether it's from go-karts to anything you want to talk about, touring cars, bikes.
Yeah, people get very serious about
it. They will do stupid shit.
So
I mean, hell, it happens in sim racing all the time. I mean, we've all been in a race where someone who has felt unjustly done in by a move or whatever, or any kind of contact, and they go ballistic.
So
yeah.
Why don't you bring your brother in sim racing to beat all the other people?
I don't think it would really help in sim racing. Also, it would mean
we just can't see a 6'8", 6'8" dude. We just can't see him.
Also, I have Byron, who's actually even larger. So there you go.
Yeah.
For those who have not ever constrained how big Byron is, he's about 6'10" ish, and over 300 pounds.
Oh, jeez.
So.
Yeah.
Huge.
Yeah. But it doesn't really help in the digital world, does it?
Yeah, but you
Oh.
can send like the big boy on like my house and beat the shit out of me, break my leg, and then I'm
Yeah, but the problem is you got to go all the way over to that side of the country to do it.
Well,
well.
Byron's not that
simulation.
far away from Mr. C.
Oh,
Oh
okay.
shit!
Oh,
Really?
see?
He's in British Columbia.
Where's
See,
Byron?
now you opened the door to that, didn't you?
Where in British Columbia?
He's in Prince George.
I'm going to Prince George actually Sunday.
There you go.
I should meet him.
You should talk to him, see if he wants to meet up, and he's always got delicious food.
Oop, I missed that.
Yeah, we lost a little bit of Mr. C there.
No, I'm
Yeah.
here.
There we go. There we go. We're back in business.
Okay.
I missed. He has some delicious.
He
What?
always has delicious food. He has a Facebook group called I Cook Good, and he's always posting like various recipe ideas that look absolutely delicious.
All right, I'm gonna hit him up because I'm gonna go on the road Sunday morning, so I might reach noon. So I might eat him. Anyway, moving up to Mr. Dale again. So,
Awesome.
Mr. Dale, how do you rate yourself sim racer? Fast, slow, medium?
Oh, I'm in the medium range. I'm just I don't spend as much time as I used to on the actual getting every nth out of the track and car that I used to spend back in the day. I have fun. I enjoy the time.
Well, talking about that, what do you think you're missing? Like time to practice, or
Honestly, it's just track time, and then from that, there are things that I've learned just from watching other people. I've paid attention to things you've said. I've grabbed hold of your some of your car setups, and they're head and shoulders above my car setups. I really need to spend time to learn how to set up a car. That's my big weak point. Is I for some reason I don't get it. I try to understand it. I try to tweak this and tweak that, but I usually get lost in the settings.
Quick advice, like also I give to some of the people that I coached, let's say coached. You have to have a system. Like for me, I have a system that I start always with the brakes and what do we call it? Not coast, preload. So I start with brakes, preload, and wing, and then I go from top to bottom. And I try to like the big
That's awesome.
car like the big thing, like the big. I try not to change like suspension, camber, anti. Those are three big things that when you change suspension, it affects other things. So if I can kill understeer with tow in or with ride height or with driver behavior, I do that.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, so you have to have a system. Then you don't. I can. I'm happily. I think I'll write my system down so everybody can have it if anyone wants it.
Oh yeah, and you'll probably find once you write that system down, it's quite extensive. You probably think, oh yeah, this is easy, but once you write it down, it's easy to you because you use it all the time.
No, you'll see it's easy. Cause I think I can have like 1, 2, 3 in 8 bullet points. Is
okay. Well.
Well, of course, each bullet point can dive. You can dive really deep into it, but you just need to follow those bullet points by what you feel of the car, not going to, oh my God, Mr. C feels a different thing from the car, and I need to feel that thing. No, you have to do it by your own self.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Because everyone's a little bit different, of course, and what they want from the car and what they feel from the car. For example,
well, see, if you look at it, how many different controllers are out there, and how many different ways to set up a controller itself, let alone a car setup.
Oh, absolutely. I tried Martin Evans' force feedback settings and just went, oh God, no. And he even has the same wheels, man.
Yeah, I drove. I went to Martin's house and I drove his setup, and yeah, definitely. But
Yeah.
yeah, if he's fast, and he's pretty fast. Sim
I'd say
racing
the
is
only flaw in his driving style is
reliable.
the his recipe for tire soup.
Yeah.
Mr. Dale, your sim racing
Hmm.
arch nemesis?
Honestly, it's just called time. That's my arch nemesis.
No, no,
Come
no,
on,
no.
I
What
have
race?
no one on the track that I have any problem with except for Andy Blake.
Okay.
There we go. Call it for Andy.
No, I had the most awesome race with him in the first endurance race. He chased me and tried to get around me for 25 minutes solid. So and I was able to hold him off until I ran out of gas.
Oh shit.
It was on the last lap. I thought I had finished the race by crossing the line, and the leader was behind us.
Oh.
Yeah, myself and Byron felt for you on that one when we were on the commentary.
It was like, oh, okay, so be it. But
You guys are all
hey,
making me look terribly petty. You're like, oh, I got no rivals on the track. I'm like, I still remind Lachlan of the fact that he took my car out in the first race we had against each other. And I will never stop.
so no, I don't have any arch nemesis.
Okay, but
Truly, I mean, I'm just having fun with everyone out there, and if I happen to rub them, I want them to understand that it's truly either adrenaline or just a bonehead mistake. It's not personal at all.
okay, but a rival, like someone that you want to beat, or someone that, like Martin said, you always find you're around him on the track, either in
Mm.
front or behind.
Yeah, I tried. Martin is my goal right now. I try to keep up with him. I don't expect to beat him unless he makes a big mistake. But then he tends to just gradually pull away from me. I just can't grab onto that bumper and hold on. He tends to pull away.
Or he can make mistakes like tonight. Sorry, Martin.
Yeah,
It
he
happens.
lost to me tonight, so there's
Yeah.
your proof in the pudding.
Yep.
What?
He finished 10th. I finished 8th.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
boy.
Little bit of history. Way long ago, when I first was doing the Grand Prix Legends thing, I had an opportunity to race in a pickup race with Gregor Hudu.
Oh shit.
Yeah. And he and another guy were battling in front of me, and we were at Watkins Glen, and I forgot what's the big sweeper corner at the end of the straightaway.
I don't know, but yeah.
I can't name of that corner. They took each other out,
No.
and I was able to go by, and I beat them.
Oh,
I
so
was like, yes! That was the very first race I ever won in Grand Prix Legends, and it was with this. I had no idea who he was at the time, and then I was telling a friend, he goes, "You did what?" He was so much. They were so much faster than me. It was ridiculous. They were like 2.5 seconds a lap faster than me, but it was a short race, just small, short pickup, and I had that opportunity. And then now I see where he's, way up there, and he's still going fast, and I'm not.
so guys, we heard it here first. One of the guys in ESR, Mr. Dale beat Gregor Hurto. ESR rocks. Like we have the best people, the best.
Yeah, well, yeah, okay, yeah, that's not gonna float, but okay, yeah,
Go with it. Just go with it.
yeah,
The
okay,
best.
I'll go with it. Yeah, yeah, I couldn't use that as any kind of advertising line, but yeah, that would not float.
Now
But
moving to sim side gig, side business, side I don't know how. Can you explain all the bit you do for one, like you do
I'm
beautiful things for people like me and I think Travis and maybe others?
Yeah. Building for Matt Hoffman. I'm in the process of tweaking a design for him. But right now, I built my this rig that I'm sitting in right now, because the one I had was bought on Amazon, and it was kit bash. It wasn't what I wanted, so I kept on adding stuff, and it just didn't seem to work. And so I decided to build my own thing, and I
Like
built it.
everybody.
Yeah, and like anybody else, but I designed it up on the computer. It's what I do for a living. Is I'm a digital modeler. I've worked in the automotive industry. Worked at all the big three: GM, Ford, and Chrysler. In the U.S., at least the big three in the U.S. And I worked for Navistar, which is International Truck and Engine. And
Okay.
now I worked for Volvo Truck, which is Mack Truck and Volvo Truck. And that's what I do for a living. I've been doing this for 35 years. So I have a lot of experience. Now I get to take that design ability and bring it into my hobbies. So I designed this kit up that I could make with a saber saw and a drill. No exotic tools. And I did it. I built it, and I made a little video of it. Um, and everyone saw the video, and you got to make a kit. So really, okay, I redesigned it. Less wood, be easier. Even though my rig doesn't take that much more space than just about anybody else's rig, it looks big. So I had to make it look more svelte, smaller, cleaner. So I started to design different versions. The one you have, Mr. C, is version 4.
Yeah.
See. The version 5, which actually not necessarily for PC sim racing, it was to satisfy the need of my stepson, who likes to race on a gaming console. Well, you don't have a keyboard or a mouse for those, so I didn't have to include anything for that. And you don't need a monitor stand because it's in front of a TV. So I made it very, very light and easy. So I just constantly look at what people needed, and I change the design. The other thing is I chose to make my rig out of wood rather than any kind of metal. And that was more of a what can I make in my garage decision. But after I built it, I found a side benefit of the wood that I think it was Andy Blade who mentioned in one of our online conversations, the texting conversations through Discord. The vibrations do different things through wood than they do through metal. And just like high-end speaker cabinets are made of wood, I found that the vibrations that come from your steering wheel, your force feedback, whether it's direct drive or not, you still get all the vibrations. And a metal rig tend to transfer through the chassis, and you lose some of that sensation. In this wood rig, I feel so much more than I did in my metal rig because it just doesn't vibrate and move around. And that was a happy finding of deciding to go with a wood chassis. And the more I talk about it, I find other people have found the same thing. But no one makes it except for me. Everyone else, if it's a DIY kit you make out of wood. But me, I decided to make a kit. And in making the kit, I had to learn how to do CNC machining, and I had to learn a couple of different softwares. So I did that. And it's taken me about a year. About a year ago is when I started designing a kit. And so we are here now.
So,
Go ahead.
so where can people find you? Like, do you have a website, a link, or just
I'm in the process of building a website right now. I don't have one up yet because I've been busy designing and getting animations together. Basically graphical things I can leverage within the website. So I didn't realize how big the business side of it is. Trying to start and launch a business is huge. It's a lot more than I anticipated. That's my biggest issue. But the other thing that I found, where unlike a metal chassis or some other material, the wood, the advantage of it is every one I make is a custom build. I can make the design specific to your needs. And eventually I'd like to have like a catalog of different designs that all work together. So you can pick the features you like, and then we can cut the chassis. Or down the road, I'd like to offer up a set of plans. So I'd like to offer. So if somebody can't afford me to cut the chassis for them, that's fine. We'll get them in something that will help them. And from what the rig you picked up, and a lot of other people find out that desk racing is fun, but it's hard to be consistent sitting at a desk because things move around.
You end up like me at the Road America race a little while ago with my knee locked up, and I just ended up in a wall because of the awkward position of racing at a desk.
Oh yeah, and it's fine. And if that's what you got, that's what you got. But if you have the opportunity, build yourself a rig, purchase a rig, or whatever you want to do. It makes a world of difference in your racing experience because then you become consistent. Okay. And then from consistency, you can find the little things to change to go faster. And that's where I'm at right now. Now I'm at the point where things are consistent. Like I just went to Suzuka and within a half a second, I did 10 laps. And I wasn't fast, but I was at my best consistently. I was able to do that.
I'm a prime example of that. I want to point out because in my sim racing career until this year, until your sim racing rig, I raced on a desk, I raced on like chairs with wheels and all that crap. And I might have had like a decent speed that I wanted, but I was not comfortable. I was not consistent. And I can definitely vouch for that. Like since I have your rig, it's so much more easy. Like and a quick example, like tonight I joined the drop-in event. And yes, some people might say that I'm fast. Maybe I am, maybe I'm not. I don't care about that. But I have huge experience. So it was DTM, whatever on Hungaroring. I did 4 laps. I just having a rig gives you also that sense of being comfortable. You don't have to think about anything else. You just like race. And now that you told me about, because I started. I have a G25 that is borrowed from Martin. Thank you, Martin. And I was telling everybody, look, this G25 feels better than it felt when I first had the G20. Actually, I have the first wheel I had the G27, but it feels more connected. So maybe what you said, because of the vibration in the wood, that's why now I feel it more better than the G27 back in the day. Because I had T500s and TSPCs and I tested Fanatics, and I'm not saying the G25 is the feelings is as good as those, but it's more something that I couldn't put my finger on it.
Yeah, and I don't know if it's my design or not, but I do know that the material chosen, which is a high quality plywood, it's not the MDF. That's another thing. As I say, stay away from MDF. That has other issues, but it just really, I never really realized how much is lost in the chassis on a metal rig through vibration. I mean, I used to have stuff rattle off onto the floor all the time because the whole rig was shaking. And now I get no shake whatsoever. I'm like really surprised. And that's what it equated to. It's just I got a whole lot more feeling back into my hands. And that's where we're really connected on in a virtual racing. We don't have seat of the pants feel. It's in our ears, in our eyes, and our hands. You know, the rest is, if you got a fully actuated thing, and yeah, that's all wonderful and great, but very few people have that. You know, and actually, if you look at all of the sim racing championships are done on static rigs.
Yes.
So that's if you're gonna go learn to go fast, if you want to compete at the high levels, that's where you need to be right now, is on a static rig. And you know, the whether it's one of my rigs or someone else's, but I know that it does make a world of difference with the material that I've used. I would have never believed it until I did it and found it myself. So
I agree with that. And also talking about the wood, I'm gonna talk in kilograms. I'm 110 kilograms, so I'm pretty heavy.
mhm.
Also, I like very, very strong force feedback, and I definitely report that this rig is not shaking, moving, or anything, and I feel like really, really comfortable applying all my, because especially in this race tonight, like DTMs, like I was counter steering, like snap over counter steering really fast with high force feedback,
Mhm.
and the monitor stands like it was still, and the monitor is not attached; it just stands on top. It's not clamped, it's not nothing, and it doesn't move. So for me, I love that, because if you remember, I told you I wanted two things. I wanted not to move at single inch,
Mhm.
and then so I have
Yeah.
both. Thank you very
Good.
much.
I'm glad you enjoy that then.
Yeah, I
Well,
love
at
it.
some point, we'll really have to talk to you about getting a rig. Because right now, I'm
Yeah.
racing in a rig that my cousin threw together for me, which is the nicest thing he's ever done for me. um, but perhaps an upgrade is needed.
Yeah. And the other thing is I'm working on a design that you can replace. It's like the one I built for the console racing. I call it my V5. Um, I built it so that the seat is detachable from the wheel stand. In the thought that the gamer can have a gaming seat and a racing rig. They don't have to be both. You have it both. You just get to use what you want to use when you want it. But I was thinking, could I build a desktop on that? You know, could I make it so it's a workstation as well? So the people who don't have the room for just a racing rig, that they need to have their computer workstation, as well as have the option to put a wheel stand on it and still have it be solid. That's the big thing. Is we don't want to go back to just the same as sitting at a desk where the chair moves and the pedal moves and the wheel is never in the same place. You know, that's difficult. But I'm working on a design that's my goal right now. But that would be a modular option if somebody wants to purchase that. But you know, but in where I'm at as far as in the company itself, I don't have I have a product line name. It's called 3D Speed. It's 3DS, and then and that's Dale Smith. 3 is a very important number. I have triplet daughters.
Awesome.
That's an important number in my life. It's also the 3-generation racing team. I have a grandson who's doing real racing on an iPad at 4 years old. Yeah, I have my stepson and myself. So now we're back to a 3-generation racing team. So the name kind of resonates with what I've been doing. But where I'm at right now is I'm putting together a Kickstarter project to get funding to purchase the machines I need so that I can make these things in a cost-effective way. Right now, they take me hours and hours to make. I'm very fortunate to be connected with. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of something called a makerspace.
Nope.
Basically, I joined this facility. And the one I joined is the Mixer in Winston-Salem, North Carolina. And that's MIXXER. And for $50 a month, I get to go in and use their laser cutter, their 3D printers, their machines, their metal machines, their wood shop, their computer lab, and they happen to have a CNC router. And it's a hobby grade. They call it a desktop, and the biggest piece of wood I can fit on it is 24 inches by 48 inches. And so I have to design all my stuff to fit on that size piece of wood. It doesn't cut real fast, and it's not super consistent when it comes to tolerances. But I only have to pay $50 a month to have access to that. So I'm pretty happy that I have that available. Through a couple of little hints from people at the Mixer who helped me out, I was able to learn how to run these machines. And
That's
then,
amazing.
yeah,
That's
absolutely.
cool.
I've done some laser cut. I laser cut some scale prototypes to see how they go together. And I used just like the little 1/4-inch Luan and just cut it out, and it was awesome. So I can have all that available to me. And there's quite a few of them around, at least the U.S. I'm pretty sure there would probably be some in Canada somewhere. You guys should look it up if you like to make stuff.
There's a local one in where I live in Mississauga.
Yep. If you like making stuff, I only go in there a couple of times a month because I only need those machines a couple of times a month. I have to design, but it gives me the ability to make stuff that I couldn't make before. See, that's the one thing in my career. As a digital modeler, I started in drafting, but then I got into the computer side of the modeling. Is I would model this stuff, and I wouldn't see it for years. I would hand it off to production, and down the road, 4 years down the road, you'd see a real part on the road. Well, that's all fine, but there's no gratification there. With these maker spaces, I get to model it up and go make it, and I can hold it, and that's awesome. And the communities in these places are phenomenal. Everyone likes to help everyone, and so it's very cool. Without that, I wouldn't be where I'm at now. So
at the moment, you said you're doing one for another sim racer.
Yeah, Matt Hoffman.
Okay, and are you taking any more orders if someone?
I haven't taken any orders because I'm still in the product. I'm going to call it the product development process. I didn't expect this V5 version, this cut down version, to be accepted by most people because it's more for console gaming.
Okay.
But I saw people and they were like, oh, they loved it. So I'm like, okay, I'll take that and expand on that version. So,
So can people contact you to order one or talk with you about one?
Absolutely. They can get hold of me through my email address. I guess we can probably put it someplace. I can tell you to you here. It's
for those $5,000, of course, you can put it in.
Yeah. It's
Paid advertisement.
Yeah. It's DALE_J_SMITH dale.j.smith at hotmail.com.
Hotmail?
So if people Hotmail.
The old school.
Oh my God!
I've had that forever.
Okay.
And so, yep. And well, that's how I got my name. Most people don't get their names in the email anymore.
I have my name in the email.
Yeah,
I have
you
As
do.
do I.
all the combination actually.
Because you're special.
Yeah, very special. Yeah.
I actually have an email for both my legal names. So there you go.
Wow. Okay. So I am wrong. So it's not that hard. So
Well, you just have to have a weird name like me.
yeah, Dale Smith is a little bit more difficult. Dale is not that common, but Smith is. So
Right. Okay, you guys try pronouncing my name and then we'll talk.
huh?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah.
What was
Okay.
that? I'm sorry, Mr. C. That's as far as I go, Andre. So
Mr. Dale, one final question.
yes.
I'm gonna go back to racing because I love that. So you're doing this enduro league at ESR without EDT. What's your goal in that league?
Oh, really? It's right back to my goal in the league is I want to improve my racing. Like any other racer, we always want to improve. Okay, and there's enough people that are in front of me that it's easy to have, you know, goals to better yourself. So it's a perfect league for me. Unfortunately, there's also some what I consider aliens like yourself.
No, no.
But you don't consider it. But for me, you are. You're out of my reach. Yeah, I'm not going to get as fast as you anytime soon. The only way I can do that is put a whole lot of hours into it, and that means I would have to give up my design time. So, but no, what I get out of that league is just pure fun. And if anyone ever wanted to do auto racing, I would say start in sim racing nowadays, and then go from
Yeah,
there.
yeah. So you're looking forward for tomorrow then?
Yeah, yep. Forward to tomorrow. I've I have enough laps at the track to know that I will be consistent, and I will put in a solid drive. Um, where I finish, who knows? But it
Uh,
doesn't matter.
yeah, if I'm
I
behind,
was in. I think I was in fifth place last week, and I dropped to 18th because I ran out of fuel.
You were having a
so this.
fantastic race the last time.
Yeah, I had a terrific. I was like, that was my best showing. Yeah, the first 25 minutes, I was spent attacking, making up 3 positions I lost on the start. And then there was the limbo time where everyone was doing their pit stops. And then the last 25 minutes, Andy was just attacking me like crazy. I mean, I swear my car had slashes all over it. He was hitting me so hard with his blade. So
Nice.
yeah. I need a new paint job for sure. So, but yeah, I'm hoping we can repeat. But that was the most fun I've ever had racing. Was last week. So, anyways,
Okay, Mr. Dale. So we're gonna put your email and maybe Discord in the description of this
sure.
podcast,
Absolutely.
Yep.
so
Yep.
everyone can
Yep.
contact you about
I will. I
the league.
should by the end of February. I should have a website up, and we can start looking at that. I have enough. What would you call material to build a website? It's just called time. There's my
Right.
nemesis again. It's time on the track and time off the track is my nemesis. So, okay, guys.
Well, maybe we can revisit once you have the website or the Kickstarter
Sure,
in place.
sure.
Absolutely.
With Kickstarter, I think I'm going to go Indiegogo as well.
Right.
I've never done it. I'm feeling overwhelmed trying to put one of these things together because it's like trying to start a business, and
Yeah.
I don't want to do it wrong. That's the thing.
Just
So it's
take it
it's
easy.
a bit intimidating. So
Take
if
it
anyone has
easy.
experience with it, I
I'd
would
be
glad to
happy
take your
to
advice.
offer any advice I can give.
I
Yeah.
have experience because I was part of Indiegogo campaign actually in sim racing. The only thing I can
Mm-hmm.
tell you is because that campaign campaign didn't went through, it didn't have a reason. It was rushed. Just don't think about it. Just add pieces. Like think it as a project, and then add brick by brick by brick without you thinking, "Oh, I need to finish this." Just take it easy.
Yep. Yeah. I'm gonna get to it when I get to it, and that's how I live my life nowadays. I put the energy into it, but I let it happen. I try not to force it anymore.
Right. That's the way to go. Mr. Dale, thank you very much, and
Yep.
hopefully when I'm in Carolina again, I will meet again.
Yep. Well, thank you guys, and hope to see you on the track.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well,
Bye-bye
I
now.
do have one last question.
Oh, sure.
Oh, wait.
Dale, what racing fuel should me and Byron have for commentary tomorrow?
High octane, but make sure it's leaded.
It always is.
There you go. Okay. Good night, guys.
Bye.
Have a good night. All right, that was Dale Smith talking to us about his sim racing history, his history in real racing, and also his design projects with sim rigs. I'm gonna seriously have to talk to him about giving myself a rig at some point, or at least the plans for it that me and my cousin can maybe implement.
Yeah, he gave me all the reasons to not hate him but envy him. And also I can envy you right now. But I remember that I did laps on Nordschleife, so I have.
There you go. There you go. I think most sports seems paltry in comparison to Nordschleife, sir.
And another bragging point, Mrs. Sabine Schmitz took me around Nordschleife in her Porsche GT3.
Ah, the Queen of the Ring.
Yeah, Queen Bee.
All right, shall we dive into the stats from ESR and elsewhere from this week?
Yeah, for sure.
Let us begin with the zero race, or with the what do I have up here first? Yeah, we'll go with zero. So the Zero Racing Series was at Sonoma for the sprint race this week, literally 2 days ago. Race 1 was won by Caleb Gonzalez, who continued the streak of new driver, new car winning every race as his Mercedes took victory in race 1. For those keeping track at home now, Porsche, Audi, Corvette, Mercedes, BMW have all won races and only one apiece at this time. That did end in race 2, though, to be fair. We have also had a different racer win each race. Simeon Naku was the Silver Cup winner and second place in race 1. Ariel Zatoni was on the podium. And a long-awaited return to zero racing for Mike Schneider produced a 4th place finish ahead of championship contender Wesley Stokes. Championship leader Paul Riccobeni was limited to a 10th place. He suffered damage early in the race and raced with basically no front end for a good chunk of it, still bringing home a top 10 position.
Awesome for him.
In race 2, it was the first silver class winner overall this season. Dennis Meissner, Silver Cup Audi driver, was the victor, ahead of Mike Schneider, who took a podium ahead of Wesley Stokes in their Porsches. Gerardo Del Valle, who brought it home in 4th place in his RUF rough car, the tuning company that specializes in Porsches. Del Valle had a very solid race going in race 1 before an accident damaged his car and forced him to drop back to 8th. His 4th place was well deserved. And rounding off the top 5 in his Mercedes, debutant Wayne Hutchinson, who has been welcomed to the grid with open arms and delivered a solid performance. The fastest lap of the race belonged to none of those drivers, though. 14th place, Ariel Zatoni took the fastest lap in the race by over a tenth of a second. He had amazing pace, but unfortunately a major incident early in the race damaged his car heavily and forced him to the back of the pack. He led a tremendous storm back, and his 14th is the reward for that. Additionally, this leads us to the standings for the Zero season as follows. Paul Riccobeni leads the championship by 22 points over Simeon Naku. Wesley Stokes is third on 89 points. Martin Lauer, who was unfortunately absent from Sonoma, the master of Sonoma, is fourth on 70 points, ahead of Joe Racer, who has 64 points. The Silver Cup leader is Simeon Naku, who is absolutely dominating the Silver Cup, as shown by the fact that he's in second place overall. Action resumes at Laguna Seca, I do believe. Let me verify that is the correct round. No, it is not Laguna Seca next. It is Hockenheim for an endurance round, the first of our European vacation round. The second one will be at Monza later in the season. Will the trend of different race cars winning continue? It's tough to see it happening because we're running out of cars, frankly. The only cars active in the field that have yet to win a race this season are the RUF, the Nissan GT3, and the Chevrolet Camaro. Each of those cars only have a single driver. Oh, and the McLaren 650S. Only of those cars, only McLaren has multiple cars. So I think we probably have hit the end of the different race winners by car. But there are still a couple of guys who are very fast that have yet to take a race win. Simeon Naku is amongst them. I would say Gerardo Del Vea has the pace to win a race. Joe Racer wouldn't surprise me. And, of course, Steve Kasimets and Ben Schwari. So that's what's going on in Zero. ESR is also currently, of course, running their GT2 series, which took place at the Red Bull Ring for a sprint round this time around. Your race winner in race 1 was Darcy Parkinson, but unfortunately race 2 turned against him pretty hard, and he wound up with a DNF and a penalty for a collision with Visar Jacoli. Second place in race 1 went to I'm going to try and pronounce this right because Byron got one of his Greek workmates to pronounce it for us. Vangelis Pargenos. Jealous Pargenos, I think is what it is. He was second place ahead of Martin Edmonds, who took a well-deserved podium, ahead of Eric Friesen and Vinnie Roberts. In race 2, Nikos Papamihail, who had a very tumultuous race 1, took the victory from John Spriggs, Pargenos, Vinnie Roberts, and Sean Kenny. Championship leader is Vinnie Roberts, who is yet to win a race. And in fact, the top 3 drivers, Vinnie Roberts, John Spriggs, and Martin Edmonds, have not won a race this season, but they are at the top of the pile. Vinnie Roberts leads the championship with 205 points to Spriggs' 188, 184 for Edmonds, 182 for Sean Kenny, and 167 for 3-time race winner Darcy Parkinson, but the penalty hurting him this time as well as the DNF. The next stop on the calendar is the endurance round at Road America, and that's where we sit at GT2. We also, of course, have the Enduro race coming up tomorrow and the debut of the ESR Academy. I'm very excited for that one, personally. Mr. C, do you have anything else to bring to the table?
Nothing. I'm excited for tomorrow because this is my first race in the Enduro League because I missed the first. And everybody is not. I'm looking to beat Taha. I don't know if I can.
Championship leader Taha Mali.
Yeah. So I don't know if I can do it or not because I have limited practice time as does he. So, but I have a podcast to put my ahead. He doesn't, so I'm ahead already.
So that's what's coming up in the ESR world, and I think it's gonna be an exciting time. I'm really looking forward to the Academy myself. I'm gonna be doing live commentary for the ESR Enduro, and then also prepping for the Zero and GT2 races coming up next week. Or well, no, there's no Zero race next week. We'll have a practice round at Hockenheim. Looking forward to Hockenheim. It's always been one of my stronger tracks, and I think I can deliver a pretty good result there. I also have a Mr. C sanctioned setup for Hockenheim, so there you go.
Oh boy, yeah. I think I talked with. I'm really happy for my, let's say, my brothers, Simeon Naku, and I don't know if he started improving after my coaching session with him or he just started improving by himself. But I'm really, really, really happy because it's a similar national to Romania. So kudos for him.
He's been doing fantastic in Zero, to the point where there are a couple of drivers, and I'm not going to name names, not going to name any names, but there are a couple of drivers who did approach me about his Silver Cup eligibility and how it might be questionable.
How does that work? If you start a championship as silver, you remain for the duration of the championship silver. The next championship,
at the beginning of each season in Zero Racing, myself, Jack Hunvik, who is our or Joachim Hunvikson to use his proper name, sit together. Well, we don't necessarily sit; we talk on the phone, but we take a moment to look at the stats, how people have been doing, and we also look at the ESR stats, and we assign people a gold or a silver rating. If you're a silver rating, this means that you're either a newer driver, you're a little bit of a slower driver, whatever the case may be, and you become eligible for the Silver Cup. If anyone's ever watched, well, frankly, if you watch any sports car racing, you see the same thing with like you have your overall championship, your Pro-Am championship, your Am championship. This is kind of like our Pro-Am championship, basically, and it's a separate standings to the overall. Everyone's in the overall. The silver drivers are in the Silver Cup, and at the end of the season, one of them will emerge victorious as champion. And then, usually, if you win the Silver Cup, you'll probably will get promoted to Gold Standard. Not guaranteed, because it's relative to your pace compared to the Gold drivers. I mean, if we get into a point where like all of our silver drivers are like unable to stay with the Gold drivers, then it's not really going to matter who's the fastest of the bunch. They'll stay silver. But I think Simeon definitely is looking at a gold rating for next season.
Simeon,
Was that you cut out there?
I said, Simeon, slow down.
I was doing that today actually during the drop in. I was racing against Josiah Jerome, who's one of the Academy eligible drivers, and people have been kind of questioning that because he's reasonably fast over a single lap. I think he's definitely got like leaderboard pace, but his racecraft does need a lot of work. And he was catching me, and I was just playfully going, Josiah, you don't want to do this. You don't want to do this. I'm the one that decides whether you're Academy eligible. You don't want to do this.
That's funny.
So that was the fun thing from the drop-ins today. I don't really have anything else to talk about. I think we had a fantastic interview with Mr. Dale Smith. Hopefully he gets his website up soon so everyone can check out their products. I know I will be because, again, not to insult my cousin's work, because it's in no way his fault. No, in all seriousness, it's in no way his fault. I found like the simplest YouTube video on how to make a sim rig, and that was what we basically based it off of. So, in hindsight, having used it for about 2 months now, there are some things we didn't really consider. but it's still a great improvement over racing at a desk. So I can just imagine what Mr. Smith's rigs are like. I imagine just amazing.
I'm very, very pleased with it. Like proper please. Yes, I'm gonna say out of the bat, yes, there are like more cheaper metal frames out there. But at least for me, for my sturdy body, I'm not gonna say fat. For me and my pretensions,
I mean, you say this, but you realize I am heavier than you.
I don't know pounds, so
I did the calculation when you were talking about it. I am about 5 kilograms heavier.
Oh, okay, wow, 5 kilograms, so a big bottle of water. But I'm like, if people, I'm gonna say this in a bad way, but if people are looking for a recommendation from a decently fast driver, I can definitely give that, because I'm fat and it doesn't move.
Mine moves a little bit. It's much, like I said, much better. Like I had terrible experiences with the with racing at a desk. I mean, we talked about the We talked about the Road America result that I was robbed of at the Invitational because it's like, oh god, my knee is not working because the way I was sitting, my knees were falling asleep the entire time, and there just wasn't anything I could do about it. And then there was another time when I literally flipped the damn pedals over under my desk and had to stop at the side of the road and go and right the pedals, and like lost so much time. So yeah,
So
if you don't have a rig, talk with Mr. Dale Smith, see what he can do for you, and I know I will. And maybe I'll get him to build one. Maybe I'll get him to send me the plans, and me and my cousin can go for round 2 and see if we can make something awesome.
that'll be great.
So that is all I had to talk about. We had some other stuff planned, but that the interview with Mr. Smith went very long, and I'm not complaining about that because it was an amazing interview. I loved every second of it. He's had such an interesting experience with racing, from the design process to the real life implications of what he's actually driven, what he's done, and the great story of family that encompasses his racing career.
Yep, Mr. C out.
Mio out.